Whether you're an experienced crocheter or brand new to the craft, you're going to experience hand pain. Honestly, it just comes with the territory. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Becky and let's just dive right in. So, like I said on the intro, hand paint just comes with the territory with any kind of crafting, whether it's crochet, knitting, cross stitch, all the things. Whether it's from holding your hook too tight or long hours of marathon crafting trying to get something done before a deadline, like a birthday gift, or you have a yarn festival coming up and you really want to show off that brand new sweater. I understand. I definitely have had my share of pain. I've actually had surgery on my wrist because I did not take care of the pain. So today we're mostly focusing just on hand pain, which I feel like is the most common when it comes to crafting and the side effects of it. And I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on what to do when you feel the pain, how to prevent feeling the pain, and maybe a little bit kind of in between. Now take this with a grain of salt because I am in no way a professional. I just am telling you what has worked for me, maybe what's worked for others, and hopefully you can find at least one nugget or so of information in here that's going to help you out. So the first item on my list is something that I am sure you've heard of and maybe even had people recommend to you before. It does work for many people. That is an arthritic glove. They usually kind of look like this. You can get them super cheap on Amazon or, anywhere else. I've seen them at even grocery stores, like in their little off section that has like plates and things like that. I've seen these. So they're really cheap. Get yourself a pair. I bought like several pairs of them and I don't find them very useful. This is what they look like. I feel maybe it's like a sensory issue, but I feel like after a while, like the feel of it drives me crazy. And I haven't felt any significant pain like lessening after using it. To be fair, the feel of it gets to me after a while, so I do just take it off. But I know other people who swear by these. This is honestly probably one of the easiest things to start off with and see if it alleviates any pain. There's also versions that have like copper in them that are like, there's so many, honestly, and so many different colors if that's something you're worried about, or that you just want a little flair. I will definitely post a link in the description for the pair that I have here. The next tip is alternate your projects or your crafts. So if you're like me, and I always like to have at least one project of other things going on. I mostly crochet. I have lots of whips, crochet whips, but I always like to have one knitting project and one Tunisian crochet project going on. I feel like switching between the crafts themselves really help because you're using different motions for each craft, right? So for knitting, I feel like you're holding your needles a little bit different. For Tunisian, it's more of like a scooping feel to me. And then crochet, regular crochet, you still have the scooping, but it's different. If you've tried any of these crafts and you kind of go between them, you know what I'm saying. Now, if you don't know different crafts, that is okay. This is still a tip for you. Have at least two projects. I know many people have multiple whips like me, but others like to do one project and go through to the finish line on that and then start a new one. Kudos to you. My ADHD just could never. I like having different things going on, not only because it keeps life interesting and hopping between projects, but it's also nice because you're dealing with different crochet stitches. You might have a project that is completely half double crochet and then switching to a double crochet will make it feel better on your hand. Or if you're doing a single crochet, jumping up to like a V stitch, it helps putting some chaining in between. Giving your hand some different motions to work through is a game changer. You're not doing the repetitive motion, which is honestly what got me. I had decor vein surgery a couple years ago now, and it was because of repetitive motion. So I definitely recommend having different crafts at one time or different projects. And I know there are times where you have a deadline and changing between things is not an option. Believe me, I get it. Now, there's different ways to deal with that pain while you're going through those deadlines. One of those ways to deal with that pain as you're working through a project leads me to the sponsor of today's video, Bob and Brad. Now, I have been a fan of Bob and Brad for a little bit now. I actually have one of their massage guns, and it has been a lifesaver after races and long runs and all of that. So when they reached out and asked if I'd be interested in testing out their hand massager, that was a quick yes. First of all, Bob and Brad know what they're doing. If you haven't heard of them, head over to their YouTube channel that has over 5 million subscribers. Their main objective is to help people live a healthier, pain-free life. So when they branched out into tools, you know that they took the time to study out the products and really make sure they were high quality. So here is the hand massager. I am honestly in love with this so much. There are a couple different modes on this, so you can choose what kind of areas you want it, whether it's all over, so palms, fingers, wrist, or you just want fingers and palm. There's also intensity levels, so you can have it be a little bit lighter on the pressure, heavy, whatever. It is portable, you charge it, and I can use it while I'm sitting at the couch, which is where I mostly crochet. And my favorite, there is a heat option. Oh my gosh, that feels amazing. Now, not only have I been using this now for a little bit, but my mom has tried it out and she loves it. She's been crocheting for over like 65, 68 years. She's also an avid piano player and has been playing again for most of her life. So needless to say, she definitely gets hand pain. And I had her try it just to see, like, am I being biased or anything? Nope. She loved it just as much. She told me how much better her hand felt, and honestly, same. In the description, I'm going to put a link to this product as well as a discount code, and do yourself a favor. This product is remarkable. And thank you again to Bob and Brad for sponsoring this video. Seriously, thank you. Now, probably one of the most obvious suggestions to help with hand pain is choose your hook wisely. There are so many different kinds of hooks that if something is giving you pain, try something else. We have hooks that, obviously have a really big ergonomic handle. We have some that are a little bit slimmer, but still have that ergonomic rubber grip. And then there are metal hooks, kind of like, the classic ones we all learned on, and then even plastic. Maybe that bendability is really what's going to help your hand feel less pain. Now, if you have been using a certain type of hook, even like an ergonomic hook, and you are still noticing pain, I've heard that maybe switching back to a metal, just plain old metal hook might help. I don't think I could ever do that because that definitely gives me more pain. However, switch things up. You never know what might help you out. That's why we have so many different kinds of hooks, right? Because everyone has different needs. And if it's not working for you, try something else. Along the same lines as changing the type of hook you're using, change the way you're holding your hook in general. Now, believe me, I am a lifelong knife grip girly. Changing to pencil grip is very hard and confusing. However, I've noticed that sometimes when you have the pain in a specific spot from hours and hours long, I should say, crocheting, switching it up and doing this at least for a few stitches, as awkward and fumbly as it might be, really, really makes a difference. It is causing you to use a little bit different muscles, a little bit different movements, and it really does help alleviate the pain. Now, could I do long sessions using pencil grip? No. No, I mean, I could train myself to do it, but no, I would rather not. I just don't want to. And again, if you are a pencil grip person, try knife grip. Even for like a row, couple stitches, whatever, it helps just kind of shock those muscles a little bit. This is when I actually discovered on my own. I went through a phase a couple months back where I was trying different ways of like holding my hook and seeing if I could improve. And it didn't go very well, but I did notice a difference in the pain level. So there's positives there, right? Now, if it is not your hook hand that is hurting, but the hand that is holding your yarn, maybe change up the way you're holding your yarn, even if it's for not very long. And again, even if it makes the motion a little awkward, changing things up just for a little bit makes a massive difference. Now, I hold my yarn super weird. Um, and honestly, I crochet a little weird. I kind of throw my yarn more than like use my hook hand. I I don't know. I know it drives some people crazy. I have a friend who has a daughter who's learning and is not very happy that she is learning or that she is crocheting the way that I do, and it drives her nuts. But it works for me. Now, another great tip and one I struggle with, and I feel like most people struggle with, even if it's the most basic thing, take a break. Take a break more often. Most of us are crocheting for hours and hours, and it takes a toll on the body, not just even the hands, but your whole body in general. I find, like, especially if you're binge watching a TV show, um, take a break in between episodes. Even if it's just like, I mean, 5 minutes is best, but even just 1 minute, 2 minutes, just to kind of give your body a break, let it, maybe doom scroll for like a minute, although that does tend to turn into a lot longer time of scrolling through apps versus crocheting. So use that one with caution. Um, it's a great time to, get up, move a little bit, use the bathroom, get a drink, grab a snack, and then dive right back in. Now, even if it's like an hour and a half and you take a break, that's fine. Just take more breaks than you are right now because I see you. You're not taking that many breaks, are you? Are we going to change that? I really should be just telling that to myself because I am also very guilty of this. Anyway, take breaks. Now, something else that you can do, and I am being a very bad example right now, is change your posture. It doesn't have to be a fancy, Volari pillow, although I do admit to using that once in a while. I don't use it for long sessions because I overheat using it with it on my thighs, but you can use a regular pillow. You can use, I've heard, a back brace. So it forces you to kind of sit up a little bit taller. And that alleviates pain like in your back and your neck. But also, it kind of changes the way that we're holding our hooks. And instead of kind of leaning down like this, which is, this is my normal posture, if I'm honest, like as I'm crocheting. I'm hunched over, my back is this way, and my hands are like this. Now, if I am sitting up and I am using a pillow, I have my back a little bit to there, I have my arms rested. They honestly feel so much better. And again, do you have to use an expensive Volari pillow? No. You can use a regular pillow, you can use a blanket, use the blanket that you're working on, use a dog. I've done that before. If they're gonna sit on my lap, I'm gonna, just take advantage of that. So change your posture because, again, I'm sure I am not the only one who has a hunching and kind of like weird grip as I'm like hunched over. Sitting up taller and having my hands a little bit further up really does make a difference, not only on like neck, back pain, all of that, but also on wrist pain. Wrist is definitely what got me a couple years ago, but I am definitely experiencing more pain on this side here. So honestly, it's all connected. So for my last tip, it is something that I am just barely getting into the habit myself, but it has made a difference and it is so important. Stretch. Even if it's not getting up and walking around like I recommended earlier, during that little break, again, even if it's a minute, it's still a break, and do some basic hand stretches. You can obviously do some like neck rolls and things like that as well, but really those hands need that stretch. I'm going to show you a couple of my favorite stretches and maybe try incorporating just one into your new crochet routine and see if it helps you. Now, like I said, most of these are going to be just for your hands, but there's a couple that'll help stretch some other places, and honestly add stretches as you feel pain in other places. So first things first is take those hands, interlock them, and put them in front of you. I would hold this for at least 15 seconds and you feel that nice stretch up here, but you're also feeling it down here on the hands themselves. So if you want, you can just set like a timer and time yourself doing them so you know when to stop. Kind of a nice little tip is as you're doing this, maybe this is when you do your neck rolls and kind of go to one side, hold that for a little bit, go to the other side, hold it for a little bit. Doing multiple things at once, I'm a fan of. Now, after doing this out front for a little bit, everybody can't do this. And honestly, sometimes I get pain from this. So do it if you can. But because you went out in front of you, block those fingers behind you and stretch that way. Now, that's definitely going to do different muscles in your shoulders for sure. But that's also going to move your wrist and fingers a little bit differently. So you are getting the best stretch that you can. Definitely shake out after you do that. These next ones are my favorite stretches. So what you're going to do is take one hand, put it out right in front of you, just say stop. Put it out right in front of you, and then you are going to take your other hand, gently pull back. Don't pull back too far because you're going to cause pain. But as you're pulling back just a little bit, and again, counting it out for at least 15 seconds, you are going to feel that stretch right there. You're going to feel that stretch through here, underneath here, and obviously through those fingers. So you're going to do that for just a little bit. Oh yeah, I feel it right here, and that feels so good. And then always make sure you're going to do it to the other side. So kind of do a little stop again, pull them back. Again, don't pull it back too far. Try to keep your arms straight. And again, that is just stretching like everywhere that you don't realize is super tight. And hold that for, again, 15, 20 seconds. And then we're going to move on to the next. So because we went up, we also have to go down. So we're going to go stop again, but this time rotate the wrist so you are like this. And then again, take those fingers and kind of push them gently towards you. Again, not so tight that you're feeling pain, but just enough that there is a good stretch. Oh yeah, I'm feeling it more over here and my hand right there. And then switch again to the other hand. Go down, pull it lightly towards you. And I don't know about you, but I always feel like one side is way more tight than the other. So this is really, really good to do during those long sessions and just giving your wrist and your fingers a little bit of a break. Now, along the same lines, I'm going to kind of shift this a little bit. We are going to put both hands out in front of us, put those fingers out, do your jazz hands, and then bring them in. Don't clench your fist tight, but just make a fist. Hold that for a couple seconds. Go back, stretch those fingers, maybe do a little piano moves while you're at it, and then clench your hands again. You're going to get a lot of different stretches here, especially as you're stretching out. And again, I love to do a little bit of this with it. And then do it. Again, we're not clenching, so we're leaving fingernail prints, but we are closing our fist relatively tight so you're getting that stretch. So definitely do that a few times. A little bit slower. And you are definitely going to feel that. Now, after that, I don't know about you, like holding my hands up like that, always good to end with a little massage on the arms, right? Now, a bonus stretch, honestly, I feel like those are just good basic stretches, and that's fine for me. But also, you can put both hands out and kind of do a touch to every finger. Do it slower. And you're feeling that stretch through here, and just slowly. And as you're putting it back, make sure your hands are like full jazz hands, doing it up all the way. Do that a couple times. And back to crocheting. I hope you guys learned some good tips, maybe some things you already knew, but hopefully you learned at least one new thing today. Tell me what is something that you're going to try to do a little bit more often in your everyday crafting. I definitely am adding in more stretches and this guy, like, game changer. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.